Celtic Ligers.
Recorded 19th of April 2025.
I also told you about the thing. They were hiring people in work.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, there's nothing to talk about. So my manager comes in and I'm like, oh, there's new CVs, any of them good? He was like, yeah, a few good ones. And then he's like, I was like, any bad ones? He goes, a few ones now mentioned mental health. So I just X those ones out. No mentalers in this place, you know?
Don't do it. Don't put it down on an application. Unless it's for fucking Doctor Who. Then they probably hire you on the spot.
Yeah.
Dr. Woke, they should call it now. Not for
I
much
was actually,
longer.
when we were watching it, I was thinking they should call it Dr. Woke.
Mm.
Yeah, I watched it. I don't want to, you know.
Don't want to step on the
other podcast.
Yeah. Holistic, which is now back week to week. Who knows when it'll be on again. But yeah, check it out. I think just type it into Google. Yeah. Or Spotify. Well, you can't. Just say it. I guarantee you Enda won't say it. Whatever you're about to say.
What?
About Doctor Who.
He won't say what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
He cries a lot.
Yeah, he does cry a lot. I actually read an interview recently with Russell T Davies where basically everybody has been saying he cries too much. He cries every episode. And then Russell T Davies was asked about that and he was like, it's not like I wrote it in the script. He's an actor who makes decisions and I think it's great that he cries. But he's
he's a hormonal problem.
He's got a limited range of skills, it seems, Ncuti Gatwa. He's not a very exciting performer for me personally.
Yeah, well, none of them have been.
In any of them?
Not any, but recent.
Oh, right. Well, Peter Capaldi was good.
I didn't like him. Too Scottish.
David Tennant.
He's Scottish as well.
Ncuti Gatwa was Scottish, do you know? He's actually from... I don't know where he's from, actually, in Scotland.
Where?
I think Glasgow, but I could be wrong. Like, just his...
Yeah, take a poll. Just take Glasgow. We'll leave the Doctor Who talk.
All right, we got to get...
Now we have another science fiction.
Oh, my God, fuck me.
3 minutes out! 3 minutes!
Eyes on me and only me. Has anyone looked at you?
I'm fucked up.
2 minutes out! 2 minutes!
Where are you guys?
Look for the blood and the smoke!
Multiple bad guys trying to get to our position.
Inbound! Inbound! Find cover! 1 minute out!
We have enemy on our building and all surrounding buildings.
Roger that. Stand by. Going hot.
You gotta get ready, man. This is gonna hurt.
On my count. 1, 2, 3.
It's funny. As soon as we left, I completely forgot about the film.
No, like, I'm really tired, so I'm kind of like burnt out. But so the movie is Warfare, 2025's Warfare, directed by Alex Garland. We saw the trailer and immediately was like, obviously we're going to have to watch this for the podcast. A lot of the publicity leading up to it has been disgusting, where like all of the guys, you know, this when any actor is in something where they play somebody who's in the CIA, somebody's in the military, somebody's a cop, if it's based on real life, they think they are the cops or the military. You know, they'll be like, you know, like Jessica Chastain going like, and I was talking to real CIA handlers and now I know Krav Maga or something like that. And you're like, you're fucked in the head, you know? But these guys were like, yeah, we got matching tattoos.
Yeah, and the end credits.
I mean,
it's not going to spoil anything.
No, it's not.
But the end credits, it had like the actors meeting their real life counterparts.
Yeah.
And one bizarre detail is that so it show like side by side photos. Be like, here's the real guy, here's the actor. Then for most of them, the soldier's face was blurred out.
I wonder whether it's because either I don't want to think about that time in my life or I don't want to be associated with that thing or anything like something like that.
I don't know. And it had them like, you have to be such a psycho, like, to be those soldiers. I mean, first of all, to do the thing, but then also to like go back and like, oh my God, this was the greatest weekend of my life.
Oh, look, we'll have to get to that. But like the trailer for it was already setting us up for a time where it's like, you know, this is like straight out of the mid 2000s where we're going to make movies about, you know, our boys going over there dying on a fucking lie. One of our guys equals 10 of theirs. All of them live in sand castles and don't have any interior lives. And so we were like heading in there and kind of being like, what? What are we going to expect? So the first thing was like, so some things we should have expected was.
First of all, I'd say the exchange rate is wrong there. I think they'd be like, one of our guys is 1,000.
Because
Arabs.
The movie really relies on you caring whether two Americans die, okay?
Yeah.
And you're just like, I don't care if any of them die.
Yeah. It was supposed to be like, the Arabs are there to get rinsed, like completely rinsed, and then the Americans are made to survive.
Yeah. Because
that's
the other thing. That's the other thing that's inherent in these things about those guys going over there to die in a lie. It's like, and they go, you know, they shouldn't be dying in foreign lands or something like that. What they're saying is like, Iraq is hell. Iraq is the worst place you can be. So whenever they show, and any of those movies, whenever they show them like, you know, the native population of Iraq, it's like they're the, you know, humble, innocent peasants who just love wallowing in the filth and eating olives, okay? And then there are the insurgents, which are not to be mixed up with the people of Iraq. They're not them at all.
But also you can mix them up because I think it was implied slightly that they're all in it together. I'll tell you when.
Yeah.
There's another thing. Oh yeah. It was the most like my first introduction to this sort of thing was this game there's called like Operation Desert Storm. Mm-hmm. It was for the PS2 and you played like as soldiers.
Yeah.
And it was just like you're a US soldier and you're just mowing down Rouge, you know? And at the time, you know, I was like 12. I was like, this is fucked up. Like, but I still love the game. And I think that they're still making those sort of films, like 25 years.
This
later.
is a bit of an outlier, but like it's also very disturbing because of the present moment, the kind of constant escalation. Like the thing about, so it's made by Alex Garland with this guy who was a soldier. Let me look up his name again. Ray Mendoza.
This famous guy, Ray Mendoza.
Well, he's just a soldier. This is a different Ray Mendoza, I think.
Oh.
But the other thing about it is that he's in the film. There's a character who is just called Ray, who's meant to be him in the movie.
Which fellow was that?
It was the guy who was kind of by the side of one of the wounded soldiers. Hey, stop kicking him.
Oh, that guy sucked.
Yeah, I know. But like the thing is that Alex Garland and all those guys, like they were obsessed with the Iraq War and the lie of the Iraq War and those people that were going over. And you know, they were the good liberals who were like, I'm not afraid of, you know, a fight. I just want the fight to be for the right reasons. You know, John Kerry, 2004.
For the right reasons.
And now it's like, it's just become so, like they don't even know what the fuck is going on anymore. Do you know, they've become so divorced from it. It's so bizarre to me.
But that's sort of one of Alex Garland's, like his recent film was
Civil War. Yeah.
And that's about a civil war in America that starts for ambiguous reasons.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't seem to care about the cause of war. He's just like, isn't it bad when it happens, apart from when it's good?
And, you know, like, it's going to be hard to pin him down because he is so, like, he's such a weasel, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, he is very, like, obviously political, but kind of tries to be apolitical and does, like, the Gen X thing, which keeps coming up all the time, where it's like, you kind of do the twist.
See that tweet that was like, we need a white mirror?
Yeah, I saw that. That was funny.
The other thing is, what annoys me about him is that, like, you know, if you're going to like war, like the cool parts of war.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're making a thing about you're making a film about civil war.
Mm-hmm.
Don't follow the journalists.
Yeah.
Follow the president or follow, like, some psycho.
Yeah.
Who's just looking to kill. You know.
The most interesting part of Civil War was Jesse Plemons being a complete psycho. And then everywhere else was like our brave journalists who are basically troops. And now you remember there was one scene which was like, that's like why he imagines the Iraq War is. And now he like extended that out into a feature film and was like, you know who's also as brave as the troops and the journalists? It's filmmakers like me who are depicting what it's really like out there.
Yeah. This film was my Iraq War.
I don't want to pretend that I did too much research because I didn't. But one of the things that I read here. So why did Garland make a movie devoid of character growth, political examination, or commentary? To explain, he tells a story about that. This is somebody in Canada for CBC talking about a Q&A that happened afterwards. To explain, he tells a story about the time he was backpacking through Vietnam and stumbled across an establishment called the Apocalypse Now Bar, named after the 1979 Francis Ford Coppola movie. Given the film's stunningly bleak depiction of war in Vietnam, Garland saw the contrast as ironic. And it's just like that. I mean, it just is what I was saying there about the Gen X thing. Like, it's like that thing isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
You know? Like, that's everything he seems to do where it's like ex machina. It's like AI. But what if like somebody fell in love with a robot? But then what if the robot was evil? But then what if it was good? But then what if, and then the movie's over. And then you have like Men where it's like, you know, well, I don't know what to say about Men. Men was a fucking pile of shit.
You make Men?
Yeah, he did, yeah.
That's the one where it's like, what if every man was the same man?
Yeah.
And he was trying to kill you or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I call that
Society.
Comedy.
Yeah, comedy. Yeah. Yeah. That checks out. I was gearing up to watch it, knew it had to be done, guessing what would be in it. So
we drove to Sligo.
We have like, you know, we're going to have like Arab kind of, you know, the music that codes it as being like,
we didn't say that.
What?
The guesses we made.
We didn't say that. I'm saying that these were the things you would expect to be in these movies.
The one you said I thought was good was, it's like, guy gets a delivery from home and it's like comic books.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I'm also a virgin.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, Kaminsky didn't pop his fucking cherry yet.
Yeah.
Guys, get away. Give it back.
Guys, pop his cherry.
If you don't stop reading the Spider-Man stuff, you're never getting laid.
If you don't stop reading the Spider-Man, I'm going to pop your cherry.
Yeah. And they're meant to be like, you know, just to kind of hint, they're like kids, they're boys. They're fucking teenagers out there in the desert on a fucking lie. And we just want our boys home. Not having to go over there and having to shoot Arabs and kill them.
Yeah.
What was the point? Oh yeah, then the next thing was that, so that's one thing that would have to happen. Then there would be like a kindly interpreter who's like their mate who gets killed, and it's kind of ambiguous. Was it the United States? Was it the insurgents?
Yeah.
Was it this whole damn war to begin with? And then the troops go home and kind of like, you know, are kind of left to figure it out.
Yeah, and we weren't quite right with any of that.
No. And there was another thing about PTSD that we should have expected where it's like, you know, the hints of like they're going to be traumatized when they get back.
Yeah.
I will say I'm going to give myself partial credit because the opening scene of the movie was them watching that music video from 2006.
Yeah.
What was it?
I don't know what it's called.
Call on Me by Eric Pritz.
But anyway, there's a bunch of hot ladies in it and they're all like getting fucking... there's hot ladies in this. And
and I didn't. They're like dancing. It's so weird because it's like it's hot lady, and then they're like dancing.
Yeah,
like the soldiers are dancing.
Yeah,
I feel like they'd just be like staring at it, grinding their teeth.
Yeah, I was going to say that
just like cocking the trigger of their gun.
The soldiers that I've seen, because I had to fly out of Shannon every now and again, where the fucking soldiers would be walking around the game, and you see them, and they are just like dead behind the eyes, just like like it's, I don't know, maybe it's different when there's a bunch of lads together in a room, but like that was not what I saw. I just saw like people who were like sitting by themselves, not talking to anybody, buying like loads of chocolate and loads of porn and just reading them on the benches in Shannon Airport.
Yeah, I feel like in reality, as opposed to watching a music video, they'd be watching like, you know, a family in a cage.
Yeah.
You know, they'd be like, woo.
Yeah. Well, another thing that we should mention is that just before the movie started, and it's unusual, I think, for Irish cinemas to have this, but because I've seen it in British cinemas quite a lot, there was an advertisement for the military.
Yeah, I've seen that recently. It's a recent thing.
Interesting.
And yeah, it makes the army look like good fun.
Yeah.
This fella playing football.
There's a guy cooking as well. I love when
Yeah.
they do that, where it's like, you actually don't have to go out and shoot. You could also make a fucking casserole.
Yeah, the chef is
Yeah.
the most useful.
How are they meant to go out and kill on empty bellies?
Yeah. I like when they have the guy at the computer.
Yeah.
It's like, he is a modern merc.
Yeah,
Mercenary, you know?
Yeah. He's fighting the real war against Russia.
Yeah, against viruses.
But yeah, so the movie starts and then they're kind of like, yeah, no, it's Iraq 2006, and then they do the Alex Garland thing that he loves to do, where he just puts up like a still photograph as if it's meant to mean something.
Oh yeah, but then there also was a line where it's like, this film is like based on the memories of these soldiers.
Yeah,
Which is weird because it's like, just be like, this is what they remember.
yeah,
But they're gonna remember the good, like the stuff that made them look good.
yeah,
You know, it's just very obvious. It's like, this is just their bias. You're saying,
Yeah.
like, just to let you know, this is what they like.
yeah. And wouldn't you know, like these guys are the most competent soldiers that I've, you know, like they do
Yeah.
things that are a little kind of reckless. But ultimately, it's like they're on top of the lingo. They're back and forth between each other. And then the dialogue. I mean, nobody talks like that to each other. They kind of have like short, sharp action movie dialogue back and
Yeah.
forth to each other. It's like, I knew what it was like on my first day. This guy's you remember the rookie who comes in
Yeah.
and is asking everybody how they are.
So it opens up, and it's like them, you know, they're like going into a house, and the way it's shot, it makes it seem like, I was like, oh, are they like gonna kill Osama or something?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is this like the most important thing in the world? And it's just like a random house.
Well, that's what, because we're watching it and they're going like, okay, we are walking on the streets, we're goofing. They're still dancing, by the way. They're
It was
goofing.
so funny. You know, it's like, you think, you know, they're like doing funny dances, and
Yeah, yeah.
grabbing their dick, and actually, even though they're, you know, on the serious business of just giving a whole family PTSD.
No, but they don't get PTSD. The
Yeah.
Arabs don't get PTSD. It's the soldiers that get PTSD. So like I mean, it's like anything. It was kind of like watching a movie about the IDF, and there'll be like this brave fight that we got against Hamas, you know?
Yeah.
And this brave battle that we conducted against Hamas, where it's like, I've got a drone and I shot him while he was sitting in an armchair holding one arm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, because they have like huge like artillery, you know, like massive Gatling guns, and like
Yeah.
they've got like, what's the word, like air support.
So you don't see that until later.
No, you don't see it until
well,
later.
You do. I suppose you see they're like a spy satellite.
Yeah.
That they're always calling up to. So it's like all that. It's like it's like stuff that even now would be. What year was this?
2006.
Even now, are considered high tech. You know what I mean? And they're literally breaking into a family's house.
What I mean is that like you don't know anything about the conflict. They just go, oh yeah, the Iraq War, we all know. Yeah, I mean that happened, but like you invaded like a sovereign nation. Do you know what I mean? You went in and you're acting like this is like your playground. And then you're like, oh my God, why are they shooting at us? They might kill us, and these are the stakes. You're worried about whether we're going to die. I was like, why the fuck would I care whether you die?
Yeah, but even at the very basis of it, like the opening, the first scene.
Yeah.
It's like they just go to a random family's house.
Yeah.
Who have nothing to do with any of it.
Yeah.
Like they pretty clearly state that.
Yeah.
And then they're like, this is our house.
Yeah.
And then later on, you're like, where did that family go? And
Yeah.
you realize family have been like kept in one room
The whole time.
for the whole time.
Yeah.
It's like there's no telling how long they've been there.
Yeah.
And there's like a couple of times throughout the film where they're like, say there's like the building's going to be struck.
Yeah.
And you see the like soldiers diving on the family to make sure that they're safe. There's no way
Absolute
they did
bullshit.
that.
And especially when so they're walking on the street, and then I knew what they're going to do. Like, what they do is that thing. It kind of reminded me of like Waltz with Bashir. It was a movie made by a guy who was in the IDF, who was at the massacre of Sabra and Shatila.
Right.
And he was like, I can't remember it because I was so traumatized. And he's like piecing together his memories of this event. But like what they'll do is they'll show like, oh, some of these people, you know, they did horrible things and they're deeply scarred by what they did. And isn't it awful? But it's also like, you know, oh well. Like,
yeah.
I don't know how to put it. It's just that thing where it's like, I'm going to show you something ugly that I did to kind of hint that I might have some contrition about it.
Yeah, because you never see them seem sorry.
No. And
Over
I
anything.
and not even like by the end of the movie, and like I said, we'll get to that, but just what I mean, I'm getting like distracted by my own. So like they're walking down the street and it's meant to be like, okay, we're sussing out some place where we're going to hole up and like monitor these guys. And he looks at this house and he goes, this seems good enough. Go inside, okay? And then he walks in and I remember them like tiptoeing in and they're putting a gun right in this guy's face as he wakes up. And then they're going like, shh, no, don't worry. And I was like, that did not happen.
I know.
You did not enter the house and the guy had a gun in his face and was like completely chill, first of all.
Yeah.
But secondly, there's no way you weren't screaming at him, okay?
I know.
Like, and then the whole thing is meant to be like, don't worry, procedure was followed the entire time.
Yeah. We robbed this guy's house under in a legal way.
Yeah. And then, so they camp up there, and then they're holding this family hostage.
Yeah, because they
yeah.
can't let them go because they were on the hiding spot.
Yeah.
So they're just like, because the other thing is 2 houses. It's like an apartment on top of another apartment.
Yeah.
So they just lump them all into the same house.
Yeah.
So like, it's just 2 families stuck in a bed.
Yeah.
For days.
Yeah. And then the other thing is they have 2 Iraqi interpreters with them.
Who are like Cheech and Chong.
They're the biggest dopes in the movie.
Yeah.
And like, spoiler alert for later on, of course, get like fucking killed in the most horrific way possible. And they're not warded any sort of dignity whatsoever. It's like, look at his fucking guts hanging out. Look at this idiot, this coward who didn't want to go out there. Now, like, admittedly, at one point, they did hint that they were like just using them as human shields, like straight up. Do you remember where they were like, we don't have to go out there, do we? And then the guy's like, don't worry. We're going to go out to the van, then you get to come back into the house. I was like, so he's telling them that they have to go out there. And they're like, they're bigging themselves up. Okay, we'll go back in the house. And so then, like, I know I'm jumping ahead, but like, when they're going out, they go, okay, go. And then your man holds back the Americans. He goes like, hey, hold on a sec. And just to wait to see whether they get shot.
Yeah.
And they were basically making it that plain where it's like, this is how expendable these people's lives were.
Yeah. Because obviously one of them is like a translator.
Yeah.
And then the other is just like, they really are put forward as like pen and teller. You know what I mean? It's like the guy who speaks and the guy who just speaks gibberish.
Yeah.
And they're always like squabbling and like being idiotic. The other thing is that like from the get-go, these just seem like the most unlikable soldiers.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like at the start of what's the film with the alien?
With a soldier and an alien.
Yeah.
District 9.
No.
Soldier,
it's really famous. Predator.
Alien. Oh, Predator.
Right. You know the way, is that the one they're all in the plane, they're like laughing?
Yeah.
you sort of like them.
I think you were meant to like these guys.
I think so too, but like, they were like, just from looking at them, but also their personality, you're just like, they seem horrible. They seem like psychopaths.
I remember watching Fahrenheit 9/11, and you remember the footage of the guy where he's like, yeah, and we get the music piped into our comms, so we get to listen to our songs while we're like burning Baghdad, you know?
Yeah.
And he put on that, was that when the Bloodhound Gang like, burn motherfucker, burn? And he was saying that. And I remember me as like a 12-year-old, and I was just anger in my stomach, just fury.
Basically, it symbolized Baghdad being on fire, and at the time we wanted it to burn to get Saddam and his regime out. The roof is on fire. We don't need no water. Let the motherfucker burn. Burn, motherfucker, burn.
The tone of this film is like, these guys are slick operators. Like and they're cool as well.
Well, there was like one or two little bits that they threw in there, or one. So this guy comes up, he goes, "Hey, how's it going?" The guy's like, "Hold on a second, I need to finish my job." Imagine. And then like he's like, "What? What did you want to say?" And he goes, "Are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm okay." And then he goes away. He's like, "I remember when I was like first starting off."
Yeah.
Then the next one that happens is this guy's like, "Oh, I got to change my dip. Can you mind my rifle?"
Yeah.
So he heads off and he's changing his dip, and he's doing like yoga exercises to make his back work.
Yeah.
And then remember, there's a bit where like they have a bottle of drinking water, and Michael Gandolfini, Tony Soprano's son, he's like drinking out of it, and then the guy's like, "Can you hand that to me?" And he's like, and he spits the water back into it and gives it to him.
Yeah, but I even thought that sort of stuff was like, these guys are so close. These guys are like family. It's like, because he spits into the drink, but then the other guy drinks it.
Yeah.
And it's like, they're so close.
And the other bit was the blue hoodie where he's like, "I mean, my blue Nike hoodie is missing from the base."
Yeah. If you see anybody out there, try not to shoot them. I want it back. So there's this couple of, towards this, from they get set up in the house, and then there's like a few different rooms.
Yeah.
And like one of them is these two guys. One of them is a sniper.
Yeah.
And he's just like keeping an eye on the street below.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was supposed to feel like this guy is like tactical. But it was very chilling because he was he's like spying but through a sniper.
Mm-hmm.
So when he's looking at people, it's like through a crosshair.
Yeah.
And I think, I'm not sure that was intended to be as chilling as it was.
I'm not sure. Like, again, it's very difficult to tell with Alex Garland because he kind of, again, does those kind of Gen X subversions, but to such a degree that he just evades any sort of, like, because like, as well as it being dark, I also think that he thinks that's cool.
Yeah, I think he definitely thinks it's cool. I think he might understand that it's fucked up, but it'd be sort of like, look what the soldier needs to do.
Yeah.
Look how fucked up.
Look how innovative he is, and they should be giving them proper equipment and proper like setting them up. And I've said, I've kind of alluded to it before. The whole idea of the conflict in Iraq, of going like the idea of repeating again and again, "Oh, they're out there in a lie. Our boys are dying. Bring them home," but it doesn't. Like, it's such bullshit. They're in another country.
Yeah.
Killing people, spying on them, flying jets over them to scare them. Okay. And then it's like the enemies are over there, the bad guys are over there, the insurgents are coming over here. And you're like, they're not brave. Okay. They're just a kind of an unseen brown horde which is firing at us, and we're just trying to do our job and get home.
Yeah.
Our job of killing them and going home.
Yeah.
And they won't let us do it. And I thought it was interesting because, like, it's a cop-out to be like, "Oh, we did it from their memories." Because that means you don't have to do it from anybody who isn't, like, you're probably not going to find any of the insurgents in that thing, but the family that was there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way that they would involve themselves in it, but there's no way you tried to figure out what they were thinking. Because you're not interested in what they're thinking.
No, it was just like the effect on the soldiers.
Yeah, and it's like, just the fact that you're seeing them being like, "Okay, 4 Bravo 21 free. This is Frogman 36."
Yeah, they're doing a lot of that.
They're doing that, but then it's like, you know, these guys over here who are just firing indiscriminately. There's no hint that the insurgents could have any sort of like plan or whatever they're doing.
No.
They're just getting lucky multiple times for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Like,
So you have the guy, the sniper, and then you have there's another guy who's doing something. Then you have the guy in the comms,
yeah.
who's like doing all the chat, and he's like, he's sort of communicating with the spy satellite.
Mm.
And then you have the leader, for want of a better word.
Yeah.
What's it?
Will Poitier, is that the guy? He's got the arched eyebrows. He looks
Yeah.
weird. He is the most British looking man to pretend that he's American. Crazy looking man.
He's like the unit leader.
Mm.
And, you know, it's sort of like he's trying his best, but he's maybe not quite.
Yeah, he's not up to the task, and he kind of, yeah.
But like, hey, he's doing his best. And
Yeah.
and everyone really respects him,
Mm.
you know? And then, is there anything else before the next thing? The next thing I remember is one of the insurgents was the sickest shot I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, you're bad with the sniper.
Yeah.
He's like, has this little hole in the wall.
Yeah.
And then somehow, one of the fellas outside, the Iraqi guy,
Yeah.
throws a grenade through the spire. Like, it's about the size of an orange.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, the hole. And he just like, woof.
Yeah.
It goes right in there.
I like that, like, because the whole setup to this is like, you know, they're on top of it. They're tactical. There's things like this. The suggestion seems to be that these guys just got lucky and managed to get a grenade in here and managed to. All the stuff that they did was just like, you know, through the black magic of like talking to people, because obviously, like you said, they're all in it together.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the first bit of like Arabic, basically, that you heard being spoken, was they just start chanting Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar,
yeah.
and all of them start, like, all of the citizens start running. What's going on?
Oh, yeah, that's
they're all
it.
running away. Yeah.
No, it's not that they're running away. He goes, they're all clearing out.
Yeah.
And it really is phrased in a way of like, you know, like they're making room for
Yeah.
the soldiers. You know, it's like they've all agreed to leave to
Yeah.
let the insurgents do their thing.
Yeah.
Like everybody is aware
Yeah.
except the poor soldiers. And even like the translator was like, they're going to attack now.
Yeah.
Like, I understand the secret Arabic cry. You know,
I
like
love- and
the signal.
When they go like, get back down there and guard the door.
Yeah.
The guy's like, it's this thing where it's like, those are the two guys who died. All right.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, I'm stupid. I don't know how the fuck I got here.
Yeah.
Well, and then the army guys are like, Jesus, I have to teach you fucking everything.
Yeah, they are really bossing those two around.
Yeah.
They're like, get the fuck back down there. Guard the door, you idiot. That's where they're going to come in. And
They're going to
like,
kill us.
Yeah.
And I was like, but
they're-
they could kill me. Look, guard the door and we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. And then there's the film is so slow.
Yeah.
Because there's an excruciatingly long time where so there's the two fellas in the room where the sniper was.
Yeah.
And then the grenade goes off. And then they leave the room. And then I'd say there's 20 minutes of like, my bag is in there.
Oh my God, yeah, I forgot about
Like,
that.
it's so long. I was like, my bag is in there. I was like, okay, let me check. And someone goes in and checks. Can't see it. Leaves.
Oh my God, yeah.
I go to the guy
I
goes,
forgot about that.
I think I know where it is. Let me go in. It's like, okay. And then he like grabs it and drops one, leaves. And he's like, but there's still another bag in there. Oh my God. And then, like, it's 20 minutes of get the bag.
It's meant to be like real time, and then recently Adolescence also did like shot it in real time. And when you see something in real time, you realize why we edit things.
Like, there is real time, and then there's like lack of editing.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, it's just squabbling over the bags was too much.
yeah. That was so. I could forget. See, like you were saying, like once we left the cinema, I forgot about it. What I was trying to say is, while we were watching I was like, try to hold on to the information. I like opened like a little notepad and I was like taking stuff down because I knew I wouldn't remember anything.
But like, It was so agonizingly slow. And then at the bottom of it all, like when the grenade goes into the room, you're just like, I do not care if these guys get wiped out. In fact, I hope they do.
I hope they fucking do.
So there's like, then they're squabbling over the bags. They get out the bags, and then it turns out one guy's injured.
Yeah.
He's like hurt himself.
In the most like, he's like, oh, my armpit is bleeding.
Yeah. And one thing they keep doing is blood checks.
Yeah.
And blood checks is like you pat your mate down to see if there's any blood on him.
Yeah.
Like, it's like when all this stuff, do it once to show us a thing, maybe that gets done.
Yeah.
It's like, they must do the blood check thing 15 times.
Yeah.
Like, they're all just doing blood checks on each other the whole time.
I think it's like meant to be like, no, this is what it's really like. And then he thinks that this is putting people off, whereas I think it's an actual advertisement for it, like the camaraderie and the sort of, and like the thing about what I forgot to mention was when the grenade comes through, it blows up. One of them gets slightly injured, but then the insurgents or whatever we want to call them, they like start shooting into the room. And it sounds like little pop guns. It's like, pop, 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 pop. And so then another guy comes in to cover them, and it's like,
yeah, he's like a minigun.
And then they're like, get in there. I don't know if they do this then, but they're like, get in there, support, show force, show force. Like,
show force, it was insane.
And it was like, it just, I mean, I'm not sure how intentional it was, but you're just like, do you want me to feel bad for these people at all? That they're like, there's a bunch of pop guns from people who live in the country who are defending their homes. And I've just seen you steal this person's home, shove them onto a bed and tell them to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And then send out like an Iraqi interpreter to be like, hey, not like, he wasn't, he was like, stand down there and guard the door.
Yeah.
In case your life is expendable.
Yeah. And then the show of force, they get like a jet to do create a sonic boom over the area.
Yeah.
It just goes like, and weirdly, that seems to really fuck up all the soldiers.
Yeah, they all start like grabbing their ears, like, yeah, because I'm presuming it's a sonic. Yeah, you said sonic boom. So like, they're like really rattled by it.
But like the Arabs are not.
No. They have a different like hearing octave or something.
Yeah. Their skull is shaped differently, so it. But it doesn't stop them from doing like 5 more sonic booms. Yeah. Like this thing that's slowly killing them. Keep it going.
Yeah.
We need more. It's not doing anything, but it's making my ears bleed.
Yeah.
So like, it really rattles them.
Yeah.
Then what happens?
So then they're like, the evac unit is on its way.
It's like a medical tank.
Yeah.
That bit was sick. I love that.
It was good.
So like the whole thing is like, and again, this is the editing thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like, the tank is 6 minutes out.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, it should be here in 3 minutes. And the guy calls you like, we'll be another 10 minutes.
Oh no.
Okay. Now it's 6 minutes. Now it is 3 minutes.
Yeah.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
Now it's outside. We didn't need all of those check-ins. You can just be like, it's delayed.
Yeah.
But even then, like, it's not like the tank gets delayed and something happens.
Yeah.
It's just, it gets delayed and then it arrives.
Yeah.
See, the delay doesn't add anything to the story.
No.
You know? There's no suspense.
It's just authentic.
It's just a real memory.
Yeah.
Just like how the family were so polite, you know?
Yeah. And the family were so pathetic and didn't do anything.
Unperturbed as well.
And
there is a moment where like the dad of the family like starts crashing out.
Yeah, he's like, let me out, like you're fucked.
And there is a tone of like, this chap's losing the plot.
Yeah.
You know, get it together.
Yeah.
Like, what are you acting up for?
We're in it together.
Yeah. And then he does just sort of sit back down.
Yeah. But anyway, the tank like the armored vehicle or whatever it is shows up outside, and then they're like, okay, everybody get in line. You're here. Iraqis out front.
Iraqis, we'll follow you out in about half an hour.
Yeah. And I love that they throw out a smoke grenade, but then the smoke grenade like is too close to the house, so the smoke starts to drift back in.
Yeah.
And then the Iraqis who are in the front, who do not want to go out, they're like losing it a bit, and they're kind of trying to get out of formation because the smoke is making them wheeze. And he's like, no, get back in formation.
Get out there, man.
Take that smoke in your fucking lungs.
Don't
Get the
be
fuck
sneaking
out.
off now.
And then they're like, we're going to go out there into the evac, get our soldier who's like lost a nipple back to the base, and then you guys come back into the house surrounded by all of these insurgents and who like, you know, will probably take very kindly to you helping the enemy.
Yeah. Like those Iraqis were dead regardless.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if not now, in 6 months.
Yeah.
So
they go out and they're about to get on the thing, and then boom, like the whole evac just blows up.
That was such a good
It was
shot.
good. I jumped in the seat, and this, which is what you want in your allegedly anti-war movie, is me just going like, oh, that was thrilling.
Yeah.
And then
I was also like,
yeah,
I'm glad. Like you felt good.
I know. I felt great. I was like, please. And then the smoke clears and there's 2 Iraqis lying there. It's like, fuck.
Yeah.
You know?
Like none of the soldiers had died. No. And I was like, oh, damn. But
the other thing, sorry, just for the bingo card, what I should have said is at some point some explosion is going to happen and there'll either be drubbed out sound or like ringing in somebody's ears.
And they did that effect so many times.
Yeah.
To like cut out the noise.
Yeah.
Like they must have done that with like 5 different scenes.
Yeah.
So there's 2 guys who live who get seriously injured. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like it does the like cut out sound, but it does it for each of them.
Yeah.
As in like cut out sound, and then it cuts to him screaming.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to the other guy, cut out sound, and later on he starts screaming.
Yeah, what I thought was interesting was that, like, so some guy wakes up and he's like,
yeah,
and then he's like, oh, looking around, and then the audio clears and you're like, okay, that's over. And then they cut into like another guy's head and it's like he's experiencing that. I was like, and they just keep chopping and changing between that.
It's like,
and
we know what it's like.
It's just very irritating. And then Joseph Quinn is in it and he's kind of a big flavor of the month, and he is like,
wait, who is he?
He played the guy who, you know, he's kind of skinny, he's got very dark eyes, pale, and he's the one clean shaven, and he's the one whose legs were fucked up.
That was so gnarly.
Yeah.
The legs.
Yeah, it looked really bad. It looked really good, I mean, but like it looked fucked up. And,
yeah.
But
you didn't feel sorry for him.
No, not at all. Because he was like the most aggro of all of them. He was like the one yelling at them and screaming at them and just being like, he was just awful. But like this guy, like his star is on the rise, the actor. So it was like, as soon as I saw him with the legs and he started screaming, I was like, oh my God, it's going to be like this for the next 20 minutes. And he screamed that loud and he did not stop. And it was just like...
Yeah. And what was mad is that, like, it was just annoying.
It was so annoying.
Like, there was no sense of, like it feels real. It was just like, I wish this guy would stop screaming.
Yeah.
Because he screamed for the next hour.
Yeah.
What are you looking at?
No, I'm not looking at it. It's just like sometimes with these movies, it's like you were saying, it's like the pat down. Okay, cool, I get it, the pat down. And it's like, yeah, if somebody's legs were fucked up, they'd be screaming like this constantly. And I was like, I know, but you just need to do it once. And then I kind of like have him just going shivering a bit. But the fact that he's like constantly screaming.
Yeah.
And actually, now that I think about it, so he's screaming, the camera lingers on the Iraqi, at half his torso blown off. You see all of his organs hanging out. He is dead as a fucking
really
doornail. And then the guy who had like, you know, the little, I don't know, the graze on his chest, who was being rushed into the evac unit, he like gets, he's out there and he just looks dead, okay?
I was so sure he was dead.
Yeah.
Because he's like, you know, there's this thing of like, you think he's dead, and then he goes like, like that.
Yeah.
He was dead for like half an hour.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't breathing.
Yeah. His chest was not moving up and down.
And then like half an hour later, like in film,
yeah.
he's like,
well, the guy who wrote it with Alex Garland, the soldier, he was the guy. He's standing out there. He's sort of like shell shocked. He's looking around. He looks down at his buddy lying in the dirt. He's like, "You're not going out that way." And he goes in and he starts pulling him out towards the building.
Yeah.
And even though you're like, "He's dead. Why are you doing this?" He's like, "He's not dead. He's alive. I got this." And he's pulling him in. And this is my memory of the event. My memory was the event was that I kind of like heroically pulled this guy into the room, and then his foot got caught in the door, and I was like, ran into the room. I was like, "Why is nobody helping me?" And I pulled another guy out, and that guy, he was a rookie. He was a little wimp, but like, you know.
Yeah, it is funny how hard he went on the rookie, because the rookie is like, he looks pretty shocked, and the guy's like, "What the fuck are you doing? Help me!"
You're telling me this is the first time you've seen an IED blow apart two people in front of you?
Yeah.
So they like drag him in, and then this is basically the rest of the movie is just like this guy bleeding out and screaming and various conversations over walkie-talkies with people.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I forgot. There's one bit, actually, where they call in a bunch of other guys, and then the guys, like, arrive.
Yeah, there's one bit before that I didn't...
Yeah?
Oh, no, sorry. So, yeah, there's the...
Oh, sorry, I forgot the morphine bit as well.
But there's a second unit,
Yeah.
right? And they come. And then the young sergeant or whatever, he's like, "My brain is too fucked up from the sonic booms.
Yeah.
Will you take over?"
Yeah.
And then they ring more medvacs or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
And they're like, "No."
They're
Like, you
like,
fucked
there's
up the
active
first one.
IEDs in that zone. We cannot send any more people over there.
And then what happened? The guy's just like, "Make them."
No, what he said was pretend to be the general and get them sent in.
Right.
So the guy went over, he's like, "Oh, excuse me, I'm the general. Can you please send in the evacs?" And they're like, "Oh, yes, sir, Mr. General." And then they go, "Yeah, no, these evacs are on the way." And he goes, "Oh, yeah, cool." Not even changing his voice slightly. He says, "Yeah, thank you very much."
I also feel like that wouldn't work.
No.
I,
But they're like, "No, but it's our memories and that happened."
you can't just be like, "It's the general."
Yeah.
Surely they'd be like, "Password it." Not a pass, like just
Like,
something.
yeah. It shouldn't be that easy to send like
just to,
two tanks.
yeah.
And then,
We're to the spot where tanks keep getting blown off.
yeah.
right?
And they had two bits, so they go like, "Oh, give me morphine," and then the guy, so like James Gandolfini's son goes like, "Ah, shit, I used the wrong end. I gave myself the morphine by mistake."
Yeah.
And it had absolutely no effect on him, clearly, except for a little bit. He slipped at one point.
That
but-
was clearly like one of the guys whose faces was blurred out of the end.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, and then this guy fucked up.
he
you know?
fucking whiffed. He like, and then so he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna give you the morphine," and he gives it to him again, and he just puts it like straight into his leg. And even I was
Into
like,
like the wound.
yeah, and I was like, you don't put it into the wound because all of it's gonna just pump straight out.
Yeah.
And I thought like, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. And then later on, somebody's like, "Did you put it into my arm?" And he's like, "Yeah, I put it into your arm because of the circulation." It was like, yeah, exactly. I was right.
Yeah. So then you have the two guys. One guy's legs are more fucked up.
Yeah.
They're really fucked up.
Yeah.
Then there's that weird scene where the guy's like, "I need to see more," and he like keeps ripping the trousers.
Yeah,
And his
yeah.
like dick comes out.
I saw that his blood covered dick. Yeah.
And it's just like he's just looking at it.
Well, I love the idea that they're like, "Just make sure my dick was actually fine. When I survived,
yeah.
my dick is still intact.
Yeah.
Reporting and ready for duty, sir."
I thought they were going to be like, "My God, his dick was blown off." The horrors of war.
Still works, ladies. Still works.
Yeah.
But then there was a bit in it where I looked it up now, and apparently like IEDs do have traces of phosphorus.
Right.
So that would have gotten in the wound. But at the moment when they go, "There's phosphorus in this wound,"
Yeah.
I thought that they were trying to be like these savages, and I was like, "You got a lot of fucking nerve."
Because when you hear phosphorus, you're
Yeah.
like, "Why phosphorus?"
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, there's anthrax in the wound.
Yeah.
They're fucking savages out there. Don't do anything, you know?
While I'm like putting bacon grease all over my rifle.
Yeah. Yeah, they left that sort of stuff out. And then
They allowed themselves one slightly like, you're telling me that a bunch of like 20 something like frat boys, okay,
Yeah.
are going to be out there and there's no racial slurs whatsoever.
Yeah.
So like there was one that they allowed themselves where they go like, "This guy's getting his jihad on."
Yeah.
And I was like, I guess that's the one that they're gonna let slip through.
It's like, I guarantee you that family were like being walked around on dog leads for the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, no, they were like
they were looking at
what?
like that like teenager going like, she's pretty hot actually.
Yeah,
Like, there's just like, it's not fucking hope.
yeah.
And like, they're trying to be like, oh no, we were trying to be like genuine and real to like the memories, and we didn't want to show like he said in an interview that I was reading here that we didn't have any music to like influence how you were thinking. We didn't try to influence blah, blah, blah. But then you're like, yeah, but you included a scene at the start where you showed them all in their downtime watching a music video missing home.
Yeah.
But none of the Iraqis have like, it's like, why the fuck are they shooting at us?
Yeah. It's like none of the Iraqis have names.
No.
Per star. Like, the Iraqis are like, it's like alien. It's
Yeah.
like, what's it called? The Peter Van Hoven. Is that his name?
Yeah, Starship Troopers.
Yeah. Like, it's like that.
Yeah.
Then the Iraqis get on the roof. Isn't that right?
Yeah, the Iraqis, that was what I was going to say. Yeah, so the Iraqis get on the roof, and then basically, like, all this thing was like, it's a, the thing about like, if it hadn't been a successful operation, it'd be a war crime essentially.
Yeah.
Like, so what he does is he goes, the new guy is taken over from Lieutenant Bitch, who just was
Sorry,
fucking,
there was a bit before that.
Yeah.
Another bit you're going to say.
yeah.
They do have a bit where they just go out onto the roof and
Oh,
start
yeah.
unloading.
Yeah.
Just like anyway.
Yeah.
They're just like shooting wildly from the rooftop.
Yeah.
And hitting a few.
Yeah. Because they got training at the end of the day, which kicks in, obviously. But they go, yeah, they're right. They're up there and they're trying to like secure the rooftop. And then they're like failing to secure the rooftop and they have to like back down. And then they come down, they're like, well, there's nothing we can do. There's like insurgents all over the fucking shop up at the top.
Yeah.
And then the guy's like, all right, blow the roof.
Yeah. First one, he's like, do another show for Sonic Boom.
Yeah.
Blow the roof.
Yeah.
Is such a crazy move.
Like the two things that were about where you're just like, blow the roof is like, where's that roof gonna go?
Yeah.
Is it not gonna cave in on your heads?
And then like the guys with the tanks, so two more medvacs have turned up, and they're like, "No, that's insane."
Yeah.
And the guy's just like, "Just do it."
Well, he said like, they go like, well, like, are we sure that there are no like innocents up there? And he's like, yeah, we're sure.
Yeah.
I was like, just fucking do it. And like, this is like, you're looking at this neighborhood because it's not like a white picket fence or like, a tiled roof.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, they all live in like fucking Lego brick houses.
Like they might as well be like mud huts.
Yeah.
So actually, before this, where they blow the roof, they've gotten the two lads out to the medvac,
Yeah.
haven't they?
No.
I thought they had.
No.
Because the tanks are the ones that.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. So they lift them up and they're like, "We're gonna put you onto a carpet and take this family's car," because like, they have a carpet.
Yeah.
These fucking guys.
And then, and then there's a load of stuff I was like, this is gonna hurt.
Yeah.
There's loads of scenes of like, this is gonna hurt.
Yeah.
And then, because they're like trying to put gauze in the wounds.
Yeah.
And then the guy's like, this is gonna hurt, and he's stuffing gauze in. And then he's like, this is gonna hurt. And he's like kneeling on it. Keeps saying like, this is gonna hurt. And then they're like, this is gonna hurt. And they put him on the carpet to bring them out.
Yeah.
And your man's like, there's no other way.
Yeah.
Sorry, babe.
You're we just came. You're sleeping. You wake up, a gun in your face.
Yeah.
These guys hold you hostage. A firefight breaks out in your house. They drag you in, like blood, screaming, traumatize all your kids, fuck up your carpet, and then bomb the fucking roof so the whole thing caves in.
Yeah.
And it's like, but like, anyway, like,
so the two
fucking
soldiers
hell.
have been dragged out on carpets screaming. Like, they've been screaming the whole time.
Yeah.
And they're put into the back of two different med tanks.
Yeah.
And then those tanks blow the roof of the house.
Yeah.
And then they just start shooting everywhere.
Yeah.
Like the top of the tank just starts spinning around, shooting every house.
Yeah.
Like the house where they were like, They were like, "Can you shoot this house we're in?" They're like,
Yeah.
"Are there innocents in there?"
Yeah.
No. Okay. I presume there were no innocents in any of the houses. then.
Yeah.
You know? And they just start like wiling out.
Yeah. And God, I'm struggling to remember now, but like I remember the one thing that happened is your man's legs come in. He comes in with his legs in the first bit, and they're literally ribbons. They're
Yeah.
just like, and then they're dragging him out at the end, and it's like, they're not that bad. Like when they were lifting him up into the van, it was like his legs, but just a bit of blood painted on his.
Yeah.
And they just kind of kept changing how serious his wounds were from like shot to shot.
There's also a really weird bit where like the soldiers from the second unit who joined them,
Yeah.
they keep kicking his leg.
Yeah, they keep like stumbling around the place and kicking his legs, and the brave Ray Mendoza is going like, "Hey, stop kicking my buddy's legs. He's in
Yeah.
loads of pain." And then they're going, "Yeah, you got colds that are stronger than this. You're gonna kick it, buddy." And he's like, "Would you lay off of him with
Yeah.
that macho crap?" Like he's kind of
Yeah.
trying to be like, "I'm actually like a little bit more sensitive than the other
That's what
soldiers."
toxic masculinity
Yeah.
actually. He's in a lot of pain.
And it's okay to cry, but I'm not like crying.
I'm not crying.
Like, sometimes I'll cry, but only when it's warranted.
Yeah.
And I'm really shocked about what's happening to my boys. What? That Muslim family is still there? Yeah, well, like he's looking at like the guy who's like alive but injured outside, and he's like terrified. And then right next to him, there's a guy who's like in bits, and he's just like, "Oh, that guy who was our interpreter."
Yeah.
Just
Whatever his name
nothing.
was.
Felt
Yeah.
nothing. Didn't get a name. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, what happens next? They all just leave.
I guess they all just leave, and then
It's like another show of force.
yeah,
And they all just pile into the back of the tanks
yeah,
and leave.
and then like
It's fairly egregious bit then, where the family comes out.
yeah, I hated that. That was one thing I was going to point out is where like anytime they have like the innocent Arab family,
Yeah.
they always speak like Yoda, that type of thing. Like, "Sister, it is okay to come out now. It is safe. It is quiet, please." That way
Yeah.
that I was like just.
And like, there really was a sense of that, of like, and everything was okay.
I
Like,
thought that was their effort to be like, "Oh, look at the kind of like there is a cost to this somewhat, but they are Arab, so like whatever."
yeah, I don't know. They didn't seem too fucked up by the whole experience.
Yeah,
It was like, they were just seemed to be like, the danger is past.
yeah,
It's like, but they're still in your country.
yeah.
They could come back. Like,
But they're kind of just used to it at this stage.
yeah,
Because that's their natural habitat, is to be, fired at, abused,
yeah.
have a gun pointed in their face.
Uh,
And then the one that kind of got me, though, when they go back out to the little neighborhood, and then all the kind of like, I'm trying to think of another word for it. It's just the Iraq war stuff is on the mind, obviously, but all the insurgents come down
Yeah.
like fucking insects. But they're all just
Yeah.
like, they all just have that kind of vacant Arab stare that they have in movies, where it's like Allah Akbar, and they're already continue. They're like, zombies looking for the
Yeah.
next kill. That war's over. Where's the next person to shoot up?
yeah.
Another day at the office for them. Whereas these guys, they didn't sign up for this shit to lose their fucking legs.
Yeah. I didn't quite clock that, but yeah, the insurgents really are just like, okay.
Yeah, that's it. Listen, we can all go home now. It's fine.
Yeah.
We don't have any injured. We but despite the indiscriminate firing that was happening, like,
Yeah.
I thought that when I was looking at the actors, I thought like they look like they're in like paintball,
Yeah.
Like they're having a whale of a time. Like, I'm like, this is so much fun imagining what it's like to be in this soldier's
Yeah.
head and taking it seriously. Like, we've got a code 314 and incoming event, that type of.
They were really relishing the code.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of it. It was good where it's like, we got a wagadaga here.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
You could tell the actors were like, loving it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, at the credits,
Oh,
there were scenes of the real soldiers
Yeah.
and the actors. And the actors are loving it.
Yeah, they're loving
Like
it.
they are just loving.
And they're getting trained by like Ray Mendoza, and he's like, go over here, and they're like, you can see them like, oh my god, like this is amazing.
And he's also loving.
He's loving it
Like
too.
there's no sense of like, this was something I didn't want to do.
So it's his life. He was there when this guy's legs got blown off.
Yeah.
And he is like, and then the other thing that's so fucked up about it is the guy whose legs were blown off comes in, this fat sack of shit, in like an American flag t-shirt.
Yeah.
And he's like, comes in on an electric wheelchair.
Yeah.
And he's just like shaking hands with all the boys. And anytime they take a photo of him, he's just flipping off the camera.
Yeah.
That's all he does. Yeah, I'm just fucking with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they're like, wow, this is really what it was like when my legs were fucking blown off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Grotesque.
Like they really are just like, my life's a movie.
Yeah.
You know, like I do cool shit.
Like, oh my god! I just can't.
Like, because the actors are having a good time, and the soldiers are definitely not being like, no, treat this with reverence. They're just like, you get it.
Yeah.
It's sick.
This
Yeah.
is what it was like. This is so real. It's so true to my life. I remember going in and holding that gun to that raghead's face.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
I might as well be holding the gun sideways.
Yeah.
Like, and then, yeah, the guy with the leg blown off who's coming back. I'm just loving it. It's just such a disgusting moment.
like, remember, I was saying, like, okay, they have that little moment where the family come out and they're like, they're gone, and oh my god, the nightmare is over. And then you think, like, is this the movie kind of giving a little bit of a reprieve? And then they do that
Yeah.
shot behind the scenes. Look at us, we're having so much fun with our little whiz bangs. And here's the guy who actually did the kidnapping and torture.
Yeah.
And then he's there. And then, like we were saying about, like, no racism in the movie whatsoever. Seeing that guy with his, like, who the fuck do you think he voted for?
Yeah.
And he's in that photo flipping off the camera like, hey, you know,
Yeah.
American flag across his chest, bald eagle.
Yeah.
And it's like, you are so unrepentant about what you did.
Yeah.
You don't give a shit
No.
that you were over there. You don't give it. And then, like, those guys, you know, like the Alex Garlands of the world, like, they love those soldiers. They think, like, those guys are just fucking badass. They're so full of character.
Yeah.
They're a little edgy because of the shit that they've seen. And it's like, what shit did they've seen? The war they went over, the illegal invasion.
Yeah.
Where they went to topple a sovereign government.
You mean there's stuff they don't?
Yeah. Like, it's like, it's kind of like what's happening now with the whole stuff with Ukraine, where it's like, I just want to watch the killing and the artillery and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't want to think about the part where we're arming like psychopaths or like what we're doing to people.
Yeah.
Like what does that conflict do? Like, what does it do?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just fun. It's not worth thinking about.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
I know. When your man walked off in the wheelchair, I couldn't believe it. I was like, no way.
Did you ever see that one? There's a very funny photo on Twitter of you know, like, there's Vietnam veterans that will go over to Vietnam and go on tours of the places they shot up and pillaged. Okay.
Yeah.
And so this Vietnamese guy was taking somebody on the tour, and then he was like, oh, just a minute, and he disappeared. Okay. And then he like, boo, and he went up through one of the hatches, like the underground tunnels that they had, and the guy, one of the vets who was on it, like, it's a photo of him being screamed at by one of these vets. And you have like the tour guide, his lips are just pursed, and is like, he's looking like a scolded child.
Yeah.
But like, obviously the comments underneath that were like, he was like, this is my dad yelling at the tour guide, and then people were like, your dad went on one of these tours. And he was like, yeah, I mean, he had PTSD. Apparently this is some way, like, he wasn't condoning what his dad did. He was like, this is just a common thing that people do.
Yeah.
But it is like that kind of, it's sick. It's a sick kind of like adventurism where it's like, you know, and it's age old, you know, with the it's a quote that I go back to a lot, but when Peter Jackson was asked about like the people during World War I, when he did I can't remember the name of the documentary, but the remastered footage, he was like, they just thought about it as a camping trip with a bit of bite to it, like a bit of edge. And these guys, like, for all their fucking wallowing and PTSD, they fucking love it.
Yeah.
And they love that they share that kind of violence and camaraderie with these people.
Yeah.
And like, that's why there's such a culture of like, you know, veterans and stuff like that over in the States. But then, like, to do this movie again in 2025, and once again, like, maybe in 2005 it was inexcusable.
Yeah.
Now it's beyond inexcusable
Yeah.
to just, like, not even consider, like, the Iraqis that you were blowing to bits.
I know.
Like, remarkable.
Like, it's such a decontextualized film.
Yeah.
It's like, it's literally just, a few days following soldiers
Yeah.
who are playing the victim.
Yeah.
And then there's no bit at the start to contextualize it, no bit at the end.
Yeah.
It's just like, thank God they survived.
Yeah. Yeah.
The end.
Yeah, well, not even that. The last title card, you remember? Like, because I was like, that was already, like, bad enough. But the title card ended on, like, whatever regiment it was or something like that. Like, to the boys in the fucking 47. And I wrote down, like, the last bit that I could remember. I think it's for those who answer the call. They answer the call for a war that was
Yeah.
on a lie to
Yeah.
get oil.
Yeah.
You died for nothing, and you're proud of that, and you love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, I lost my legs, and
Worth it.
now I'm
though.
on the movie set.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Yeah, but what do you say? What the fuck do you say?
I know.
And then there were, like, montage of all the soldiers next to the pictures of their actors, like you're saying,
Yeah.
their faces blurred out. Then they get to, like, here's the picture of the Iraqi family we held hostage as well. All their faces blurred
yeah.
out as well. And I was like, just throwing it in there, like, next to those images as if they're one and the same thing. They're all characters in the movie.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. There were only two characters whose faces weren't blurred out. Really?
Yeah, those are the guys who, like, allowed their names to be used as well, because the rest of them didn't. Like, Ray Mendoza was one of them, obviously.
Yeah.
But I had the interview. They interviewed him for The Guardian, so I was reading down through it, and they kind of asked him, like, just like, I mean, it just says everything. Let me just read the questions really quick, because the answers are very boring. Okay.
Okay.
I'll just read out two of the answers. But he goes, "How do you feel about war films in general? Did you have any concerns about telling a story rooted in personal trauma? The two of you agreed that you wouldn't embellish or dramatize the story. How did that work? This all happened almost 20 years ago. Did you and the others talk about it much at the time? Has making warfare been therapeutic?" Like, all of these are, like, about the film and about the soldiers.
Yeah.
Not about the conflict, not about their feelings or thoughts on the Iraq war at all.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, it just happened. It was inevitable and we were there and here's what happened.
Yeah. Like, the tone of it was so, like, you know that Clint Eastwood film about the guys who are on the train?
Yeah, yeah.
It was like that.
Yeah.
But at least with that film, it's like, they're soldiers, weren't they?
I think one of them was like, he couldn't be a soldier because he was like colorblind or something like that.
Right. But it was sort of like, these guys, this thing happened, they rose to the challenge.
Yeah.
This was the same tone.
Yeah.
But the thing that happened was they invaded a country.
Yeah, but it's not important. We don't need to know. Like, because they
Like
say
it-
at the start, they're like, yeah, they're like doing a sniper post or something.
Yeah.
For what? And you're like, for what? For why?
Yeah.
Just for an attack. Like a famous battle during the Iraq War. Okay, well, like,
What happened there?
yeah.
Why were they doing that?
I like
Like even that question of like, were you concerned about doing rooting the film in trauma?
yeah.
It's like, why would that? How is that the major concern?
Yeah. Like, and the other thing about it is, like, we were like growing up while the Iraq War was happening. Most right-thinking people knew that it was a fucking lie and it was awful, and that all these Iraqis were getting killed for, like, there's no good reason to get killed in a war, okay?
Yeah.
But they were just being, like, slaughtered
Oh yeah.
and tortured.
Yeah.
And then, not only that, but any Arab who lived in America was being surveilled
Yeah.
or kidnapped or tortured.
Yeah.
Or at risk of it. But anyway, the point is that was the time we went through. Now, I'm thinking, like, you're somebody who goes in and knows the Iraq War is something in the past, but not something that
Yeah.
you didn't live through the experience or the time or the kind of like, everybody knew what was happening
Yeah.
and it was a lie. And you watch this movie, what are you gonna leave? It's like a Call of Duty game. It's like that stuff
Yeah.
where it's like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What matters is the conflict, the war, And that was gripping and sort of thrilling, but also sort of sad, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But also, like, it's accompanied right next to an advertisement where you wouldn't even know the difference.
Yeah.
But the question I had here was, okay, sorry. I hear you put the cast through a 3-week boot camp before filming started. I gave Will Poulter, I think his name is, a lot of autonomy and ownership, and I said, these are your guys, they're not mine. Cherish the ride because you're going to experience something that most actors do not get to experience. The goal was to put them in positions where they rely on each other. Then I injected stressors, gave them tasks that I knew they couldn't complete, gave them timelines I knew they couldn't make. I was very kinetic, very fast-paced with long days and no time to go back to the trailers. Next question. Was the food superior on set?
Yeah.
Anyway, that wasn't. I just wanted to be like that, like just this journalist, fucking coming in his pants.
Yeah.
But here's the one. So,
what did he say to that? Actually?
Fridays were good. There'd be something fun like an ice cream truck. But there was a bit in it where the actor playing you cries. Was it important to show that? Yes, because it happened. I think I'd have had a reaction no matter who it was, but being that it was my best friend, it stopped me in my tracks. I thought he was dead. I didn't want to believe it was him, but I quickly snapped back into reality.
He didn't really cry.
No, he didn't. But because later on, this other question they asked, were you ever afraid as a SEAL? Because they were like a Navy SEAL, I guess. And he goes, no. If somebody is drafted and they get thrown into combat, typically the outcome is not optimal. But it is what I signed up to do, so I've been mentally prepared. It doesn't mean I'm not impervious to trauma. It just means less of a shock.
No, I'm a psychopath. I don't have access to the full range of emotions.
It has been argued that war films inevitably wind up glorifying conflict. How does warfare feed into that debate? It isn't meant to fit into some political box. There's a lot of narrative. We can't talk about
political. Man. Don't bring politics into it.
Don't bring politics into my war. There's not a lot of narrative for a reason. It's for you to fill in the blanks. There's no score for a reason. Adding music, I can lead you to believe what I want you to believe, or I can make you feel what I want you to feel, sad, angry, and so on. But if you watch this and say, I think war is a good thing, then you should reassess how you view things.
Right.
But like, he's kind of saying, if I put music in it, I'd be leading you to think things.
Yeah.
Well, I would say making the decision to not have any Iraqi, have any sort of, like interior life whatsoever is also a decision that leads you to view things in a certain way.
Yeah.
And to not talk about the conflict and why you were there.
Like the soldiers were definitely more worried. There's more time spent about bags than there was about Iraq.
Or about the family that were in that room.
Yeah.
My bag's in there. I gotta go and get my bag. My bag. And then they like leave the house that's being under fire from a bunch of insurgents with knowing that they have an IED.
Yeah.
And they're like, bye. Not even bye. They just left.
Yeah. Like that family. I was saying, like, that family been in there for a while.
Yeah.
And then the like local militia are like, they're gonna treat that family too kindly either.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, that family aren't in for a good time.
No.
No matter what happens. But it's like, nah, they're grand. Should they have the house back?
Yeah.
Half it.
Well, like, most of it's fallen down. It's like, just pick up some sand and get to work, you fucking lazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that was it.
That was horrifying. That was horrifying that, like, like Alistair Campbell has, like, the biggest podcast in the UK. This movie is in theaters being like, oh, who even knows why the war started in the first place? We're just glad they're home.
Yeah.
And everything is escalating around the world to be like, we need to give more money to Israel. Putin is Hitler, so that means Europe needs to militarize. Ireland needs to get rid of the triple lock.
Yeah.
I don't even know what you say after that. I've not, like, you know what I mean? I'm kind of like floored. I'm just like, there's stuff that happened in the news, but it feels so tasteless to talk about it now.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of tasteless, I did go to see Conor McGregor's pub.
That's the end of the free bit. Go to patreon.com/CelticLigers for the rest, where James talks about going to Conor McGregor's awful pub to get a peek at Tucker Carlson. Drury Street small business owners are, where else, on their knees. and the Ligers read out Graham Linehan's miserable reaction to what should be a good day for him, just so they can feel less shitty about the recent UK court ruling against the trans community.